Start with the model bulldozer in the link below that's on the Get Into Blender webpage. And we'll see that although the animation works fine when the bulldozer moves along the y-axis, as soon as there's any sideways movement or rotation or vertical movement, the modifiers to make the track run along the curve just stop working. And the reason for this is that the curve modifier and the follow path constraint both require world coordinates. The simplest way to fix this problem, if the model is only going to be used in Blender, is to remove all of the modifiers apart from the curve modifier on the link to make the track, and remove the constraint and the follow path constraint, and then take them so they're no longer parented by the bulldozer armature, and put them into their own collection, which we'll call track prototype. And then we can make instances of this prototype, and those can be children of the bulldozer, and they will move with the bulldozer and they won't be unscrambled, and the prototype will all be positioned at the world origin. To position the object origin to the world origin, if the 3D cursor is still on the world origin, you can use object, set origin to 3D cursor, and then go into edit mode and move all the vertices. If you open the sidebar for the item, you'll see the median location for the vertices, and you can set the x value to 0 in order to essentially centralize them on the x equals 0 plane. One issue you will probably find is that the curve modifier allows the deform axis to be set, and that will probably make the orientation of the XYZ locations of the vertices rotated. So in my model I have to set the Z location of the vertices to 0 in order for them to line up around the x equals 0 plane. The animation of the track rotating along the curve can be done by setting keyframes at 0 frame for 0 y displacement, and then say at 60 frames setting the y displacement at 8 meters. Note that if you need to set, or you may need to set, the interpolation type by right-clicking on the keyframes and set it to linear rather than the default Bezier. When the prototype track seems to be animating correctly, right-click on the collection and create two instances to scene. Rename one as track instance left and rename the other as track instance right. And you then need to make those two instances into children of the bulldozer. So you can do that in the outliner by dragging and pressing shift at the same time and dropping them onto the bulldozer. You then need to move the locations, X locations, relative to the bulldozer center point to the left and to the right, so they line up with the wheels. And now you'll find that when you move the bulldozer or rotate it, that those instances will move and rotate at the same time. Notice if you animate a movement from one position to another and a rotation, you often get a slightly strange sliding motion without including lots of keyframe points. And the best way to make a bulldozer follow a path is to add a path and then an object constraint to follow the path, and check the follow curve so it rotates at the same time as the path.